All right, good morning, everyone. Really going to try this out for the first time, so if the quality's not good, I apologize. If the audio's not good, I apologize again. If you have any questions about what we're doing today, please put it in the comments below or connect with me via Remind, and I can definitely try to help you out. We're going to be subtracting mixed numbers today, which we've already done a few times in class. You've already had a few assignments on it. We're going to do a few examples on the board here. Feel free to pause the video if you want to slow down any steps you might need to look at, and again, ask questions if you need. So let's just do a few problems together here. So we're going to start with a couple fractions. We'll do 3 and 1/6, take away 1 and 4/5. All right, so we have our two fractions here. We're going to notice something right away. When it comes to the fractional part, a 4/5 is a bigger fraction than 1/6, which means we're going to need to borrow from our mixed number. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do the subtraction properly, and we're going to end up with a negative number, which we shouldn't have with fractions. So what we're going to do is we're going to borrow here from our 3. So we're going to take one of these 3's away, which will leave us with 2. Now, each one of these mixed numbers was valued at 6, because 6 is a total. So we're now going to add 6 on to here, which will now give us 7/6, because we had 1 in our numerator place to begin with. So now we have 2 and 7/6, take away 1 and 4/5. Now we can subtract this as if it was just a normal fraction. So the lowest common denominator between 6 and 5 is 30. So let's rewrite our fraction with our new lowest common denominator at 30. Now we need to make our fractions equivalent. So to turn 6 to 30, we times by 5. We need to make sure we do the same to the top. And to turn 5 to 30, we times by 6, and we need to make sure we do the same to the top. So 7 times 5 gives us 35, and 4 times 6 gives us 24. Now we can just subtract like normal. Let me turn the camera a bit this way. Hopefully you can see that there. 35, take away 24, and then that answer, of course, is going to be over 30. So when we do that, we end up with 11 over 30. Don't forget our mixed numbers. We still have 2 subtract 1, which gives us an answer of 1 and 11/30. I apologize, I ran out of room on my board here. Again, first time doing this, so I'll know to start a little bit over to the side next time. That is the way we do our problems. Let's just do a couple more together here if you need some more help. I'll try to go slow, and remember, you can pause the video at any time if you feel you need to. Let's turn the camera back over here a little bit. Very amateur videos, I apologize. Let's do 4 and 2/8. So take away 2 and let's do 6/7. All right, so we got a couple fractions here ready to subtract. You'll probably know right away that our fractional part 2/8 is smaller than our fractional part on this side of 6/7, which means we're going to need to borrow in advance. You could borrow later, but it's just generally easy to do it before you have to get to that stage. So let's take one of these away, and that'll leave us with 3. Each one of those was worth 8, so we need to add 8 to our numerator, which will give us a total of 10, because we already had 2. Now we can go ahead and do our fraction. Your lowest common denominator of 8 and 7 is 56. Now, you could factor that out if you want to. If you're not good with your multiplication, you can do your factor chart here and go through, but eventually you're going to end up with 56 being the only time that these two are divisible by each other. Now, in order to turn 8 to 56, we times by 7, so let's make our fractions equivalent. 10 times 7 gives us 70. And to turn 7 to 56, we multiply by 8. We do the same to the top, and that'll give us 48. Now, we're essentially ready to, now that our denominators are the same, we can go ahead and make our numerators the same. So 70 take away 48 gives us 22. And remember, our denominator doesn't change. It's going to stay at 56. And don't forget the mixed numbers. We had 3 whole numbers. We're going to take away the 2. We're going to be left with 1. I ran out of room again. 1 and 22 over 56, which could be reduced, but for now, we'll leave it at 1 and 22 over 56. Hopefully you follow along okay. Let's do a few more. I want to make sure you're okay. And again, remember, you can always go back and look at this again if you need to. Turn that camera one more time. Let's go with blue this time. This time, let's go with 6 and 1/9. Take away 4 and let's go with 4/10. All right, so we have our fraction ready to go. You'll know that 4/10 is bigger than 1/9. It's almost 50%, almost halfway, whereas this is not. So we need to borrow before we get started here. Let's take one of our mixed numbers away, which will leave us with 5. And each one of those mixed numbers was worth 9, and we already have a 1 here, so we're just going to make that 10. So now we're ready to go ahead and do our subtraction, or find our lowest common denominator. Now the lowest common denominator between 9 and 10 is going to be 90, unfortunately. It's quite a high one. Now, to make our equivalent fractions, let's multiply by, in order to turn 9 to 90, we times it by 10. We'll do the same to the top, which will give us 100. And on this side, to turn 10 to 90, we times it by 9. And let's do the same to the top here to give us 36. Now, all we need to do is take away 100 from 36, which would give us 64 over 90. And of course, don't forget your mixed number, which is 5 and 4. So you subtract those, you end up with 1. 1 and 64 90ths becomes your answer when we subtract these two fractions together. And that's that for this part. On the sheets that you did, you're going to have some examples of these where you have picture examples or pictorial examples. So you maybe have one that looked like this. And we'll just draw a couple out here. So you might have one that looks like this. And on the other side, you might have what did I do here? I think that's right. There you go. And let's say one of these is, and one of those is that. So you might have your picture example here. Not the best example, but my drawing's adequate at best. So here is your first number, and we have two whole numbers here. And our fractions is out of 9, so that's our denominator. And we have 8 of those 9 covered up. We go to the other side, we have 2 wholes. And this time, though, we only have 3 out of 9 covered up. So the first part is just writing out your fractions the way that it looks. 2 whole numbers, and we have 8 9ths, 2 whole numbers, and we have 3 9ths. Because your denominator is already the same, you don't need to do anything in terms of finding a common denominator. They're already the same. So your answer is already going to have 9 as your denominator, which means we can just subtract. 8 take away 3 gives us 5, and our mixed numbers 2 take away 2 is 0. So this answer is just simply 5 9ths, which can't be reduced. So either way, that's one way we can look at this. We'll do one more pictorial example, because these are quite common in the books, the textbook questions that you guys have. Sometimes they're strips like this. And we'll do another one on this side. Again, forgive my shoddy drawing here. All right, so here we have 2 pictorial examples. Again, let's write out our fractions first of all. We have 2 whole numbers. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have 1/5 here. And on this side, actually this is only going to work if I erase this. We have 1 whole number and then 2/3. So what you probably notice is 2/3 is definitely bigger than 1/5. So in order for this fraction to work, I'm going to need to take one of these away. So we'll leave us with 1. Each one of those mixed numbers was with 5, so I'm going to add 5 to my numerator to get 6. Now I can go ahead and start subtracting. 5 and 3, the lowest common denominator they share is 15. And again, you can factor those out if you'd like. But 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 5, 10, 15. Eventually, that's where you're going to find your lowest common multiple. Our denominator, sorry. To turn 5 into 15, we times by 3. So we'll do the same to the top. 6 times 3 gives us 18. And to turn 3 to 5, we times by 5. So we do the same to the top to get 10. Now we can just subtract since our denominators are not the same. 18 take away 10 is 8/15. And we have mixed numbers 1 and 1, so it's 0. So our answer becomes 8/15. I hope this helped a little bit. There'll be many more lessons coming in the near future with all different types of things. Again, you can contact me via Remind, contact me right on Google Classrooms if you need help with any of your assignments. We're going to be starting our circles unit very soon, so we're all going to be starting from the same place. You are going to need to have your geometry sets. I did hand them out to all the students here Monday. If you have a geometry set at home, the only tool you need in that is a compass. If you don't have one, feel free to come by the school and pick one up, or go to Dollarama, Walmart, anywhere, and pick one up there. It will be required for the first lesson. You'll also need a calculator for future lessons. There is one area where you are allowed to use them, and I'm assuming most of you have them at home. Once again, thanks for following along, and please comment if you have any questions. Good luck!